Welcome to the movies, pal. It's the season finale of season 1. Master Chaos Theater is coming to a close for now. I'm taking a bit of a hiatus. If you haven't seen most of the reviews, I've covered over 50 films in this first season. Please go back and watch some of those reviews. I'm very interested in your thoughts on the films as well. I've got everything from the beginning of the Zatoichi franchise, which I will continue to cover, to the Killer Crocodile movies, to my whole series on really low-budget movies with killer in the title, like Attack of the Killer Donuts or Killer Sofa, things like that. Lots of fun, weird, outre movies I think you'll enjoy. But tonight, our season finale is something that simply must be covered because we need to put a cap on this franchise. Friday the 13th, the reboot, written by Damien Shannon and Mark Swift, and directed by Marcus Nispel. Brought to you by Michael Bay, this reboot of the entire Friday the 13th franchise is, in my opinion, not only one of the best remakes ever, but this is a hot take, so please bear with me and listen to me till the end. In my opinion, this is the best Jason movie ever made. I know, you're gonna take umbrage with me. I get it. But looking at the franchise as a whole critically, watching it from beginning to end, and being brutal and honest and trying to find connective tissues between the films, I've come to the conclusion that this remake is the perfect squeezed down composite of a Jason movie. What do I mean by that? Well, it's got all the elements. This takes the best of the first 4 Jason movies. Number 1, the credit sequence, pre-credit sequence, and things like that include everything that is important about Friday the 13th Part 1. We see, Pamela Voorhees. We see her attack a camper. We see the camper cut the head off. However, the biggest distinction here, this establishes young Jason, who has survived the drowning and watches his mother get her head taken off. And we see him, as now an orphaned boy, pick up his mother's severed head and head off into the woods, establishing that he has been alive, he survived, and he lives in the woods. Number 2, it also establishes Baghead Jason from Part 2. And we have him kill the first few kids in a great sequence full of some excellent nudity and some really brutal kills. And that's something I'll get into later on as well. Then he, in another scene later on, he removes the bag head and he finds the hockey mask. And the hockey mask looks awesome. It's well aged. It has a good look and texture to it. It's almost like perfect. Like they made the perfect equivalent of what the hockey mask should look like. So there we have elements of Part 3. Now he's got the hockey mask. Where does Part 4 come in? Well, Jared Padalecki plays a guy named Clay who is looking for his sister. She is one of the kids in the first big sequence with Baghead Jason. When Jason actually goes on his first kill rampage, she has been taken prisoner by Jason because she kind of looks like his mother. And Clay has hit the trail looking for his sister. If you remember Part 4, Rob, when he wasn't making googly eyes with Tommy Jarvis's sister, he was looking for his sister, who was missing. I mean, she had died. She wasn't kidnapped. But here we have an element from Part 4. Rob, in this case, it's Clay looking for his sister. So in one movie, we have 4 Jason movies. And you know what? It's perfectly melded together. Everything feels organic. But it hits the beats that the fans all want to see. Oh, Baghead Jason. Okay, well, now he gets the mask. Okay, great. Oh, Pamela Voorhees was not written out. No, she's still a part of the lore. It's great. Don't get me wrong. We still get the stupid bullshit drunk idiots who are basically fodder for Jason. But that's fine. You need that. And I think most of the criticism I've heard about this movie is that it doesn't feel like a Jason movie. I mean, what the hell are you talking about? A guy in a hockey mask killing people at Crystal Lake. That's a Jason movie. And not only is it a Jason movie, here's another hot take. I think It's probably the most brutal Jason movie ever. Jason runs, Jason stabs with anger, Jason will not let you get away. He feels like a force to be reckoned with. Now, yes, he's always a force to be reckoned with, but in this film, to me, Jason didn't feel like kind of a cheesy, clunky, kind of, backwoods slasher type of guy, which is kind of what he is in the original run of the series. Here, he feels like a real goddamn threat. He is scary in this one. He's a big and imposing, and he will fucking kill you to shit. That's great. That's great. This is a Jason who's not taking any shit, and he's not gonna mince words. He's not gonna wait for you to run around. He'll chase you the fuck down and kill your ass to bits. That's essentially the plot. We have a brother looking for his sister, a sister who's been kidnapped, and a really interesting twist when it comes to the final girl situation. Danielle Panabaker is in this, and she plays our would-be final girl, Jenna. I'll talk about her in a minute, but there's some really great late in the game third act twists, which change things around and make it much more interesting than just your regular hack and slash. And honestly, I appreciated the hell out of that. These are the same guys who wrote Freddy vs. Jason, and I know from what I hear, they were very not happy with Freddy vs. Jason. It's not what they intended. I may be mistaken on that, but I've heard that they're like, what happened to our movie? What is this? I get it. Here, they wrote a goddamn amazing Jason movie. And not just you can say, oh, well, they ripped off the other ones. No. These guys are fans. They paid homage to the franchise because Michael Bay's company wanted a remake, a reboot. They gave them the perfect reboot by remaking the first 4 fucking movies. Let's get to the kills. We have 14 confirmed kills in this movie. Not the highest, but I think the most brutal and the most violent kills in the entire franchise. I think every kill in here is pretty juicy, pretty graphic. I mean, it certainly pushes the R rating, and I watched the killer cut, so it's got a little extra juice, and also the theatrical cuts on here too. But the killer cut's the one to watch. This, to me, every kill resonates and feels raw and real, and it has a tension and a potency to it that a lot of the other kills in the movies don't have. So that's a huge plus for this movie. In terms of nude scenes, we have 4, and I take it back. I take it all back. I think I said that Part 5 was the boobiest film in the franchise. Well, I was mistaken. This is the boobiest film in the franchise. Good Lord. There are a lot of boobies on display, and they're all thick, perfect, round breasts. Amazing breasts, to clarify. And not only is it just like a quick, top comes off and there it is. No. There's a lot of boob lingering. I mean, there's like oil being rubbed on it. There's a extended sex sequence where there's blonde girls like, going bonkers on this one guy, and she's naked for a good, 4 or 5 minutes. It is a boobtacular film. It is the boobiest film in the franchise, and this is not a hot take because I think everyone will agree with me. This has the best boobs in the franchise. Fave kill goes to one of those booby girls, particularly the one who oils her fantastic boobicles. In the beginning of the film, in Baghead Jason kill scene, he pulls her out of a tent, and then this is amazing, he hangs her from her tent over an open campfire and cooks her, boils her like a bag of Uncle Ben's rice. Excellent kill. So unique, so different, and so cruel. That's something that Jason hasn't really been. Cruel, sadistic. He'll stab you. He'll cut your head off. That's it. He'll walk away. The motherfucker hung a girl from a sleeping bag and cooked her. That's a sadistic son of a bitch. That's what I mean about this Jason. This Jason's fucking nuts. This movie's final girl offers kind of a misdirect. We assume in the beginning that Whitney, and that's Clay's sister, is going to be our final girl. But when her friends get slaughtered and she gets taken, we think, oh shit, she's dead. Okay. So we assume now Clay's coming in to find his sister. And then we meet Jenna, played by Danielle Panabaker, gorgeous actress. Great, she's really good in this too. A lot of the actors are really good in this, which is, really a breath of fresh air after Freddy vs. Jason. We meet Danielle Panabaker, and she plays Jenna. And we assume, okay, well, Jenna is the final girl. She's sweet and kind, and she's not going to get drunk and smoke pot and have sex. She's our final girl. Then, spoilers, Jenna gets her ass killed when Clay goes to rescue Whitney. And now we got Clay and Whitney. Boom! Surprise! The last bit of the movie. What is the last bit of the movie? We have a new final girl. Whitney's still alive. Whitney is the final girl. And Clay technically is also a final girl, final boy. Because we've been following him from the beginning of the movie. So technically he is our lead. Twist! Great twist. I did not expect Jenna to die. Honestly didn't. That got me. Great. Genius move. And something that the movie didn't have to do, really. But the fact that they did it, they threw a wrench into the formula, makes it really interesting. Makes it really, really interesting for me. Fave line goes to Trent. Now, I mentioned that this was the tittiest film in the franchise, so my quote is based on the scene where he is getting railed on by that beautiful blonde girl, and he is just stunned by her stupendous breasts, and he says something along the lines of, man, your titties would win you would win in a fucking titty contest. Something like that. You would win in a fucking titty contest, I think is the line. I love that. That is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but it's almost exactly what a dude banging a hot chick would say, like, oh man, you got stupendous breasts, your tits would win in a fucking contest. 100%. I like that. That's very true to life. So yeah, Trent gets this movie's favorite line as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, everything he says to that girl is pretty golden. Now, I do feel I should clarify why I consider this the best film in the franchise. First of all, it's the best directed Friday the 13th. Secondly, it's the best looking Friday the 13th. Not just the cast, but the film itself. It just looks perfect. Thirdly, I mentioned this before, but this one's got the most brutal, sadistic Jason ever. Yeah, I know everybody likes Kane, but Derek Mears kills the shit out of any other Jason. I'm sorry. I'm saying I know. This is my opinion. I know you have yours, and I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. Two-way conversation, like I always say. But to me, this is the Jason that I'm really scared of. This is also the most intense and action-packed Friday the 13th. There is never a dull moment, zero dead air in this movie. This movie moves like a goddamn rocket. It doesn't stop. Yeah, we have, bits and pieces of time where we introduce the characters and they come in. Oh, here, I got some pot. Oh, hey, let's get some beers, whatever. Yeah, we have that. But it's few and far between, and when that's not happening, and there's tense action and stalking and a real propulsive nature when it comes to the plot. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the best plotted and the most intense and the least dull entry in the franchise. This also is the most sensible entry in the franchise. It makes it very realistic, and not only in the kills, but setting up who Jason is, who Jason was, how he fucking survived in the woods, how he drowned as a kid and is now grown up. Well, he didn't drown as a kid. He lived. Now he just lives in the woods by himself. And we see where Jason lives. Great. We see he has like a shack in the woods. He's got like hidden tunnels and crazy shit. That makes sense. He's a survivalist. He's a hillbilly hermit kind of guy. Perfect. That makes 100% sense. We never saw that. Jason was just like some kind of ephemeral thing that just sort of lives in the woods, but we don't have to explain how. This movie realistically paints a portrait on how a person like Jason, a thing like Jason, can exist in the real world. Great. Did a fantastic job. I love that. It does end in a pretty huge cliffhanger that echoes back to the original movie. Fortunately, we never, ever got a follow-up, which is a shame. And I know this movie was successful, so I don't know why we never got a follow-up. It must be a rights issue. I know that they're dealing with rights issues currently, and it's a shame because this one is honestly so good and deserved a sequel, just like the Texas Chainsaw movies. As a matter of fact, the Texas Chainsaw reboot was also directed by Marcus Nispel, and that was a really good film too, the one with Jessica Biel. So that got like what, three movies off of that. So I don't know why Jason just kind of died on the vine. FYI, Sean Cunningham is listed as a producer, but something tells me he had nothing to do with this movie, and I'm so happy for that fact. Because we get a true-to-life movie here that appeals to the fans and delivers a pretty slick and seamless reboot of the franchise. Unlike the movies that Sean Cunningham spearheaded, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason, which I think we can all agree are the 3 worst Jason movies. And that's because Sean Cunningham never liked Jason. He didn't create Jason. He created Pamela Voorhees. He was never a fan of Jason. As a matter of fact, Jason Goes to Hell, the reason it was so shit, if you haven't seen that review, is because he wanted Jason out of that mask. And apparently the only way they can come up with that is turning him to a worm. Funny enough, my biggest memory from watching this movie in theaters was I went to see it at the Chinese theater, the famous Grauman's Chinese theater in Hollywood, with a friend of mine. And afterwards, we went to the bathroom and we were just hanging out in the lobby. And who should be standing next to us but porn star Sarah J. And now I'd never really seen, a porn star in real life, but I recognized her and I'm like, holy shit, that's Sarah J. Has nothing to do with Friday the 13th, I know, but from that point on, I've associated Sarah J with my watching Friday the 13th the remake. Just a weird little celebrity run-in kind of memory that's tied into the movie. It has nothing to do with the review, I know. I just thought I'd share and show you pictures of Sarah J. Let's talk special features on this release. Now, again, just like the Freddy vs. Jason one, none of the features on here are exclusive to Scream Factory. If you have the killer cut or any version, I think, of the remake, then you have all the special features already. This has a picture-in-picture trivia track that runs through the whole movie. A featurette titled The Rebirth of Jason, which runs a little over 11 minutes. There's a documentary on here about the history of the franchise, and that runs approximately 12 minutes. There's also Cut to a Kill, which was something that was on a couple of the other releases, and it has 7 of the best kills in the movie that you can just access from the menu. And you just want to see those people get killed, do it. Now let's talk additional scenes. There are deleted scenes that either were too extreme or just didn't make the cut, or just alternate versions of things. There's a sort of a semi-alternate version of the ending. For me, the standout alternate scene in this is how Jason gets the mask. In it, there's a hillbilly guy who sells weed. In the movie, in the version we have, he picks up a nudie magazine, he licks her private parts, and he's like being really gross. Anyway, in the alternate version, I know why they cut it. You know why they cut it? Well, I'll tell you, because you might not know why they cut it, but I'll tell you right now. You see, he opens the centerfold to the camera, and what is that woman doing? Well, she's penetrating her vagina with a dildo, and you see it. Boy, you see it all. And I can assume the producers are like, well, we can't have vaginal penetration in this movie, so reshoot that. However, we got to see it. Additional scenes, that's a highlight. Oh, I'm so glad to be done with the Jason movies. I don't think I'm going to be watching Jason anytime soon. No, I need a break. That being said, as my grandmother's dentist always says, hold on to your butts, I'm coming in. I'm giving this one 5 stars. That is right. I know, but Friday the 13th, the remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, is, in my opinion, deserving of 5 stars. And I think I've clarified why. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I think it's the most intense, the best directed, the best looking, the one with an actual plot, the one with compelling characters, the one with some really nice twists and shifts when it comes to the final girl, and in my opinion, one of the strongest and most interesting and brutal and sadistic Jasons ever. And the fact that it compacts part 1, 2, 3, and 4 into one movie. This is also the longest Jason movie, by the way. It's an hour and 45 minutes, which is great. It feels like a real movie. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is just an entry. This is just a placeholder. It's just, oh, what makes this one different? Oh, it's just the same thing. Jason kills kids in the woods. Essentially, yes, it is. But it also establishes Jason as a real character, as a realistic individual who survives in the woods. He lives in, underground or whatever, and he kills motherfuckers to get in the way. Established. Thank you. That makes more sense. He didn't drown. Gotcha. Perfect. It's a perfect movie as far as I'm concerned. It's probably one of the best remakes ever made. Of course, the best remake ever made is The Thing. We all know that. This is a close second. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the Freddy remake. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake was abortion beyond compare. This should not be lumped with that film. This, I think, is closer to the Texas Chainsaw reboot with Jessica Biel. This was a solid movie. Really fun, really engaging, never boring, great kills, very memorable, and should have been the beginning of a new franchise. Unfortunately, it is not. Who knows what's going to happen in the future. But I really hope Sean Cunningham has nothing to do with it. And they need to make one more movie. At least one more movie. Do you know why? I think you know why. But do you know why? This is the 12th movie. They need to make one more. And then call it a day. Just like I'm about to do right now. That's it. I've reviewed all the Friday the 13th movies. I gotta say, to be honest, it's very exhausting. Very exhausting. I'm exhausted. And I'm taking November off, depending on when you're watching this. I am putting Master Chaos Theater to bed until probably December. I'm going to come back, kick off Season 2 of Master Chaos Theater with all Christmas horror movies or Christmas action movies. There's one I'm looking at that I think is pretty freaking goofy. I got to review. Anyway, that's it. Time to close the theater, pal. I've got to put this campfire out before the silver screen burns. I hope you've enjoyed this look, at least my thoughts on Friday the 13th the remake, a film I consider almost a minor masterpiece. I thank you so much for watching. This is the end of Master Chaos Theater Season 1. Over 50 episodes. I am thrilled to have gotten this far, and we're going to go further. Just give me some time to rest, and we'll be back reviewing the weirdest movies, the strangest movies, the funniest movies, and a lot of, legacy movies like this. I'll be doing those as well. And Zatoichi, I haven't forgotten you, my friend. I'm going to finish that franchise. I promise. But for now, my friend, if we don't meet again anytime soon, happy Thanksgiving. This has been your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos, and you have been entertained.